will proceed in innovative approach in calculus and mind-blowing proving the product rule in differential calculus. Okay, we are kind of seeing many things in calculus. Calculus is primarily integral calculus, and opposite to the integral calculus is differential calculus. Whereas it Whereas in mathematics, the primary thing is addition, and reverse of opposite to addition is subtraction. Repeated addition is multiplication, then repeated subtraction is division. Opposite to the multiplication is division. Okay, so this is calculus concern. So in integral calculus, there are primarily two ways to calculate the integral calculus. I mean addition through multiplication through calculation of the area of the graph, that is integral calculus. Okay, in that way, kind of integral calculus has two ways. One is method of substitution, and other is integration by part. So these are the two scenarios. Whereas if we see the differential calculus, then chain rule and product rule. Through product rule, we can get the integration by part, that we will see. And through chain rule, we can get the method of substitution, that also we will see. We are not running away. Anyway, if these are the scenario, if these are the scenario, then we are proceeding in proving the product rule in differentiation. How we can prove that fx into gx, differentiation of fx, function over x into gx, function over x again by dx, dfx by dx, dgx by dx, dfx gx by dx, dfx gx by dx. That is differentiation of function fx into gx by dx. That is fx differentiation of gx plus gx differentiation of fx. There are two primary things in calculus. The calculus has two primary things. Calculus evolved as algebraic calculus. Calculus has variation. If you see, calculus has variation. That variation is achieved by algebra. As we see, life, human life. What is human life? Human life is a layered approach. Human life is a layered approach. Layered approach in the sense one is sitting on top of other. Most basic thing, most basic thing, and then. Like, what is the most basic thing in humans' life? We take breath. We take breath. This is the most basic thing. What is the most basic relationship? Whatever the blood relative what we have near about, that is the most basic relationship. What is the most basic food? The kind of the food what we eat. Okay, like in India, people eat rice and roti or dal. So that is the most basic thing. It is also called a stapled food. So a staple food is the most basic thing. But if I get to have tea or coffee, I don't drink tea and coffee. But if I get to have tea and coffee, then I take. Okay. Sometimes if I get chocolate, hand on chocolate, that also I take. Sometime. But main basic course is the staple food. Main basic course is the air. That is the basic. Main basic relationship is the relationship that is the nearest to us. Then we make friends and those kind of things. If I lose the friend also, I just remember that I used to have the that friend. But the most basic relationship, I always be with them. That never go away. Similarly, mathematics also sits upon sits upon top of one layer. Okay, That's how the calculus mathematics is also it work in that fashion. But anyway, now calculus mathematics, if we see kind of, then calculus sits on top of algebra. Calculus sits on top of algebra. Algebra sits on top of numerical science. There is no, then if we see the layer by layer, the lowermost layer should not have any error. If I see the computer, then the lowermost layer in the computer is memory and CPU. That's it. That is the most basic layer of the computer. There should not be even a single error on top of it, on top of it, on top of it. Then we have kind of machine language and then machine code, then assembly language, and then on top of it, someone write operating system. On top of it, we have set of software and then highest level software runs on top of it. That is user application. There can be bug in user application, but bug should decrease as we go lower in the layer. If we come to operating system layer, then bug should be as less as possible or zero. As we go down, 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 then at the CPU and memory level, there should not be any bug at all. Means lower down. Now, if someone sees memory, if any company is making the memory chip, then memory chip is highest for the company. Down, 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 then silicon layer and those kind of the chemical layer that comes into the picture. They also see that at the layer of silicon and semiconductor layer, there should not be any error. So one layer sits upon top of other layer. Now the calculus comes into flavor. One flavor is the primitive calculus, old calculus. Old calculus begins with integral calculus, and it is purely sitting on top of polynomial integration. What is integration of x to the power 0? What is integration of x to the power 1? What is the integration of x to the power n? Okay, the polynomial integration, first it is fixed. If it is solid, if it is very much solid, then someone proceed based upon the fundamental of polynomial integration. Someone proceed in calculating the trigonometric integration, sin x, cos x, based upon the polynomial, based upon the polynomial integration. Okay, if someone get the integration of sin x cos x, then he proceed for the log x exponential step by step. Okay, this is primitive calculus where the net variation, whatever variation we see in the calculus, that is completely handled by the algebra. What is new way of calculus? The opposite of integration calculus where we calculate the area, that is integral calculus. Opposite to it is differential calculus. Differential calculus, if this is x-axis, this is the curve on top of x-axis. If I take any point x, their height is function over x. If I take any point x plus delta x, at that point height is function over x plus delta x. Then if I move delta x along x-axis, how much y moved? Dfx by dx at point x. At point x, if it is fx, and if I move delta x, then if it is fx plus delta x, there is a difference in fx and x plus delta x. The difference arises because I move delta x on the x-axis from point x. Then dfxy by dx talks about if I move single unit, delta x unit we took. If I move single unit along x-axis, then how much I move in the y-axis or in the function. That is derivative. Derivative is anti-integral. If I have fx dx as integration, fx into dx is the integration and it becomes hx. Then dhx by dx, fx into dx equal to hx, then dhx by dx gives the fx back. That is differentiation. Now, in the modern way, people started moving ahead with the differential calculus in the sense that if I know dfx by dx, then if I do opposite, I get the integration. Earlier, if I know the integration, if I do opposite, then I get the differentiation. Okay, which way it has to be matter of choice, but the primitive way is completely dependent upon algebra, whereas new way it is dependent upon something called delta x, the way I gave example, delta x, primitive way, how we calculate the area. Net, what is the net aim of calculus? Net aim of calculus is net aim of mathematics. What is the net aim of mathematics? What we are trying to get from mathematics? At the end, we are trying to get, right. If I study biology, if I study biology, then what is the net aim of biology? We should be fit, healthy by our body. That is the net aim of the biology. Someone is very good in knowledge of mitochondria. Someone is very good in knowledge of anabolism, catabolism, metabolism, something like that. If someone is very good in genetics, DNA structure and this structure, that structure, he knows very well. Someone is very good in RBC, WBC, and so many concepts. If that is true, someone is very good in nuclear transmitter, that comes in the brain concept, nuclear transmitter that is radiated by the neurons when they try to connect other neurons through synapse in the neuron fundamental, where the one axon end, it tries to communicate to other neuron through its dendrite, and synapse is the connection point. It releases the nucleotransmitter. Through that, it connects. Someone is very good in that. Very nice. He is PhD in this area. He is PhD in this area. He is PhD in this area. What is the net aim of biology? That to keep someone fit. That's it. If someone knows very well in genetics, but he himself is not fit, what is the aim of biology? Nothing, right? What is the aim of remaining fit? First is that you should not go and eat the medicine. And second thing is you should be fit in your society. Because at the end, the the aim of the life is to be a very good social life. That is the aim of any person. Primary aim is that you should be fit by the body. But the end, you have to enjoy your life. Just remaining fit and doing exercise and sitting on the chair and browsing mobile and TV is not the aim of the life, right? Yet the aim of the life is to have a very nice social life that gives the actual pleasure to the mind. Anyway, what is the aim of mathematics? Aim of the mathematics is to do addition. That is the aim of mathematics, to do the addition. For the addition, only multiplication comes into the picture. For addition, only subtraction comes into the picture. For addition, only division comes into the picture. If multiplication addition is complex, then algebra comes into the picture. Then calculus comes into the picture. Then different coordinate system comes into the picture. Then vector comes into the picture. Vector field comes into the picture. So many things comes into the picture. But at the end, the main motto of mathematics is to add to entirety. That's it. If I am able to add through my mind only, then I don't need anything. Like I give example of a triangle. What if I say I get 10 oranges per day? I get 10 oranges per day. How many oranges I am getting at the end of 5 days? Then someone will say 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Someone would say 10 into 5. Someone would say let's draw a rectangle and keep the oranges in rectangle. Keep the oranges. So 10 oranges on top of it, 10 oranges on top of it, 10 oranges on top. So 5 rows and 10 column comes in the rectangle. Let's count it. It will become 50. It is nothing but area of the rectangle. So if you calculate area of any shape, you get the net addition. Okay. Someone is saying on the day 1 I get 1 orange. On day 2 I get 2 orange. On day 3rd I get 3 orange. Day 4th I get 4 orange. Like that. How much orange I get? Just draw the graph and get the area, that is the addition. So area is one another way to calculate the addition. So in the primitive calculus, the net aim of the primitive calculus is calculating the addition only. How they do is they draw an independent axis, that is x-axis, and dependent axis, that is y-axis, that also called function over x, and they draw a graph and they calculate the area and say this is the net addition. This is the net addition. Like person is walking. Every hour he is collecting 5 kilometers. At the end of 10 hours, how much he has collected? 5 into 10. Or 10 is the width and 5 is the height. Net area is 10 into 5. That much kilometer he collected. But the person is not walking in that fashion. Person is walking something like that. On the first second, its speed is 1 meter per second. On the second or first minute, its speed is 1 meter per second. Second minute, at that moment, if someone is computing, or in first minute he is covering 1 meter. In the second minute, he is covering 2 meter. In third minute, he is covering 3 meter. In the fourth minute, he is covering 4 meter. At the end of 60th minute, 60 minutes, 1 hour is completing in 60th minute. In that 1 minute range, he is covering 60 meters. Okay, this proves that the way he is collecting the distance is dependent upon the time. If I say 5 kilometers per hour, it is not dependent upon the time. But here it is dependent upon the time. How many kilometers he collected? First minute, 1 meter. Second minute, 2 meter. 60th minute, 60 meter. At the end of 1 hour, how many kilometers he walked? Then someone would draw graph. Graph is like a triangle, right? Then just calculate the area, you get the net addition. This is the class primitive calculus. Primitive calculus aim is to calculate the addition only through calculating the area. How to calculate the area? We go by integral calculus. Integral calculus is nothing but primary area we calculate through x. Okay, so if this is x-axis and person is walking like this at a constant speed, the net kilometer he's collected is the area of the rectangle. So if it is walking at 5 kilometer, that at the end of any x hour, he walked 5 into x, that is area of the rectangle. If he is walking at a speed of x, and this is x-axis and this is x, then how much kilometer he walked at the end of x hour? Then again area of a triangle is x square by 2. Now people have started understanding that net addition is nothing but calculating the area. For rectangle, it is alright. For triangle, that is x, it is x square by 2. If it is 1, then it is x to the power 0, then it becomes x. If it is x to the power 1, then it becomes x square by 2. If x to the power 2, then it becomes x to the power 3 by 3. If x to the power 3 is there, then it becomes x to the power 4 by 4. Now then learn that calculating the area of a shape is for a polynomial is nothing but x to the power n. For x to the power n is the equation that x to the power n plus 1 by n plus 1. Okay. Based upon that, they calculated sinusoidal, cos, and those kind of functions also. That we will see. We are not running away. Log x, e to the power x, so like so. Now, when they know the integration, then opposite, they understood this is differentiation. Now, if the calculating the area is integration, if this is x-axis and this is function over x, and then if I do the integration, I get an algebraic equation. If I differentiate that algebraic equation with the dx x-axis, I get the fx back. That is the differentiation. Or if I have velocity and if I do integration, I get the net distance. If I have net distance, if I differentiate, I get the velocity back. Velocity is fx into dx gives the net distance. Net distance by dx gives the fx back, velocity back. This is the way people started deducing the formula of differentiation. Okay, but in modern technology, people started with differentiation, considering differentiation is the beginning of calculus. In that way, I calculate the differentiation of something. Through that, I do reverse and I get the integration. If that is the concept, then differentiation is nothing but if I have a function fx, then at point x, what is fx, and x plus delta x, what is new fx? Just subtract the fx divided by delta, that is the differentiation. Dfx by dx, earlier dfx by dx, dfx by dx was hx. Dfx by dx was hx because hx into dx was fx. Dfx by dx equal to hx because hx dx is fx. That is the primitive calculus. New calculus is dfx by dx equal to hx, then hx dx is fx. Okay, it begins from differentiation, and dfx by dx is nothing but fx plus delta x minus fx by delta x. So this is something called new calculus. Now we are in era of proving product rule. Now dfx by dx is dfx plus delta x minus fx by delta x. Okay, if that is the way, then what is dfx into gx by dx? What we are trying to do? If this is x-axis and there is a curve called fx, there is another curve called gx. There are two curves drawn on x-axis. One is fx and one is gx. If I multiply at any point x, if the height is fx and another height is gx, fx and gx, because there are two curves, one curve, another curve. One is fx and one is gx. What is dfx into dfx gx by dx? Now let's multiply these two. One can be dfx plus gx by dx. One is dfx into gx by dx. So if at point x fx has height h and at point x gx had height, okay, at point on x-axis at any point x, fx has height 5 and at same point gx has 510. Then net height is 5 into 10, that is 50. Now I move delta x from x. Now fx height is 7 and gx height is 12. Then there the net height is 12, 5, 60 and then 24. I think 84. Okay, 84. 12 into 7, 84. One's place height is 50, multiplication height. One is 84. Then what is dfx into gx by dx where x equal to x? X equal to x. So consider the x is 9. Then at x equal to 9. Then at x equal to 9, then subtract the height it is achieved because of the delta x. Then it is 84 by 50, 34 by delta x, whatever delta x I have taken. But this is differentiation of fx into gx at point x equal to x or 9. Okay, that is 34 by delta x, whatever delta x I had taken. So this is the way to calculate the product rule through first principle. This is called first principle. First principle means f dfx into gx by dx equal to fx plus delta x into gx plus delta x minus fx dx by delta x. This is the first calculating the differentiation of multiplication through new way where delta x tends to 0. Now we have seen that we can, in this calculation, we can introduce two terms. One term is plus x gx plus delta x into fx and then minus gx plus delta x into fx. I can introduce this. If I introduce this, then it becomes gx plus delta x into fx plus delta x minus fx by delta x plus fx into gx plus delta x minus gx by delta x. It becomes gx plus delta x dfx by dx plus fx dgx by dx. Now problem is gx plus delta x remains there. It should have been gx only. Now since delta x tends to 0, now it becomes gx dfx by dx plus fx dgx by dx. This is new way of calculating the product rule in differentiation. Okay, what are the other way through the new way? Other way we have now we have seen for the other way. Consider this is x-axis. If this is x-axis, hope x-axis is bigger. Okay, now consider this is x-axis. If this is x-axis, then this is the curve. Okay, if this is x-axis, this is the curve. Okay, if this is x-axis, this is the curve. Now, if this is the curve, if this, it is cumbersome. Okay, okay, this is x-axis and this is the curve. This is point x. At that point, height is fx. Height is fx. Now, this is x plus delta x. At that point, height is fx plus delta x. Now, can I write fx plus delta x in terms of fx? Then fx plus delta x is fx plus fx plus whatever dfx by dx at that point, the slope what we see. So here if I see, the slope is like this. I had taken fx here. So slope is like this. Whatever the slope is multiplied by delta x give the net difference that is seen at fx as far as delta x is concerned. Or if I say this is x-axis and this point is x, this point is x. If that is x, then this is fx, and this is x plus delta x, then this is fx plus delta x. Now, what is fx plus delta x in terms of fx? Then fx is at x. Now, dfx by dx gives me the slope. If I multiply this slope with delta x, it gives me the net change in the height because of delta x and the slope. So fx plus delta x is nothing but fx plus dfx by dx into delta x. But if that is the case, then if this is fx, then dfx by dx is the slope at that point. If that is the case, slope at that point, then if I move delta x along x-axis, then if I try to get the new height, then this will be the new height, not this one. If that is the case, then fx plus dfx by dx into delta x, it gives me this one, not this one. Then there is an error here. That error is called error. So fx plus delta x equal to fx plus dfx by dx into dfx by dx into delta x plus error. How we can minimize this error? This is the new way, delta x terminology. This is the modern way of calculating things. Consider there is an infinitesimal small. Primitive way, the basic of primitive way is algebra. Why we consider delta x? When we know the basic fundamental that integration of x is x square by 2 or differentiation of x square is x by x square is 2x, let's proceed through that only. Don't go with the x and delta x and this kind of thing. If that is the scenario with the new way, that is the terminology. Fx plus delta x is fx plus dfx by dx, that is the slope, into delta x plus error. If that is the case, then in the first principle, we can put this. Then dfx gx by dx equal to fx plus delta x gx plus delta x plus, minus fx gx by delta x. That is the same. Now fx plus delta x I can replace with fx plus dfx by dx delta x plus error. Now, gx plus delta x is gx plus dgx by dx into delta x plus error. One is error 1, one is error 2. Minus fx into gx by delta x. Now, someone can calculate all the multiplication and subtraction by delta x. He would come with the fx dgx by dx plus gx dfx by dx and plus all term in delta x and error. Now, if I consider error as 0 and delta x as 0, then it becomes dfx by fx d dx by dx plus gx dfx by dx. This is what we want. I don't go by this rule because there are a lot of estimations are there, approximation are there, imagination is there, and those kind of things. How I can minimize? This is what yesterday I was talking. How I can minimize means in the first video. How I can minimize this kind of situation? Then go with the bigger term. If I say if this is x-axis and this is fx and this is x and this is fx, then fx plus delta x is what? Fx plus delta x is fx plus dfx into delta x plus error. What is error? Can I minimize that error? Then I have to go with the bigger term in Taylor series. Taylor series talks about how if I want this is fx and this is fx plus 1. If I want fx plus 1 from the fx, then how if I just go with the single order derivative? This is not available in any of the book. Please do support us. +91 is the India country code. 9483160610. 9483160610 is the India country code. Plus, I mean telephone number 9483160610 plus 91 is the India country code. Please do support us. It helps. Okay. Anyway, now I'm trying to get fx plus delta x from fx. What is the Taylor series? Taylor series talks about fx plus delta x only. Fx plus delta. What is fx plus delta x? That is fx when x equal to x. What is fx1 plus delta x? Equal to fx1 when it is what is the value of fx at x equal to 1? What is fx plus delta x? Equal to fx plus dfx by dx delta x plus 1 by factorial of 2 d2 fx by dx square delta x whole square plus d3 fx by dx cube 1 by factorial of 3 delta x to the power 3. This is the more toward the Taylor series, differential Taylor series. Actual Taylor series is fx equal to fx at value at x equal to 0, that is a0 plus dfx by dx x plus differential delta differential the polynomial estimation would be like this: fx plus delta x equal to fx plus dfx by dx delta x plus d2 fx by dx square plus delta x whole square 1 by factorial of 2 plus d3. If someone takes this big term, then error would be as minimum as possible and we can remove the error at all. Then someone has to substitute fx plus delta x, gx plus delta x minus fx into gx by delta x. Fx plus delta x can be replaced by fx plus dfx by dx delta x plus 1 by factorial up to d2 fx by delta x whole square plus 1 by factorial of 3 d3 fx by dx cube delta x to the power 3. Go into now in terms of gx plus delta x. Gx plus dgx by dx delta x plus d2 gx by dx square delta x whole square into 1 by factorial of 2 plus d3 gx by dx cube by 1 by factorial of 3 delta x to the power 3 plus minus fx gx by delta x. Someone can do. This is new calculus. What is old calculus? The way we did. At any point, now this is the primitive calculus. If we see, then we are trying to get the product rule for the fx into gx. Since fx is a function over x and gx is function over x, they are independent to each other. They are independent to each other. In that sense, I can consider fx as u and gx as v, where u is function over x and v is function over x, whatever. Now, if I am in, if there are two independent components u and v, two independent component u and v, then if I have uv plane where this is u axis and this is v axis, This is u axis, x axis, this is y axis, v axis. Two independent components are there. This is the uv plane. In that sense, function over uv is z. That is fub. Okay, so z equal to, now if this is the surface, if this is the if this is the hope. As I said, mathematics is something someone need to understand step by step. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Anyway, if this is UV plane and this is the surface, if this is UV plane and this is the surface, now let's cut the surface in some plane. So consider that I cut the surface in XZ plane or UZ plane. Then this is the surface. Okay, this is, I cut the surface in VZ plane. This is UZ plane. Now at any point, what is the Z value? Or if this is the UV plane and this is the surface, then this is the Z value. This is the Z value. Height is the Z value. At any point, what is Z? Z is nothing but function over x and y, or z is also equal to dz by du, dz by du into u plus dz by dv into v. We have talked about this in very much detail. At any point, what is the height? That is function over u and v. That is in dz zu plane. If I get that slope, if I in zu plane, if I get the slope, then slope into u, then dz by du into u plus dz by dv into v. At any moment, what is the differential in z? I can see this is primitive calculus, because earlier we were completely hanging on delta x. In the new way, we completely hang on delta x. What is delta x value? What is delta x value? Tends to 0. And this and that. We are completely dependent upon delta x. In primitive calculus, we are completely dependent upon power of algebra. So what is change in ZIC? Momentary change in ZIC, that is dz by du into delta u plus dz by dv into delta v, where dz by du is again algebra, not a numeric value. So the way algebra is moving, that z would move. So in that fashion, if I say at this point, if this is z and this is u, this is z, then delta z, at this moment, what change in z I see. So delta z concept is over. What is dz? What is dz? Change in z I see at that moment. That is nothing but dz by du into du plus dz by dv into dv. Delta concept is not there, because everything here is algebra. So dz equal to dz by du into du. Whatever which momentary change in u I see at that point, what is the momentary change I see in v at that point, and how this point would be taken care, because the curve is rotating, that will be taken care by the algebra. Why you are worried? That is dz by du. That will result in an algebra if it is not a straight line. If it is a straight line, then dz by du will be a numeric. Anyway, this is what we want. Straight line is all right, as we saw in the previous example. A straight line is all right for me. Curve is giving the error. If it is curve, then dz by du will be a curve. Then it will keep adding in that fashion only. Very straightforward. So dz equal to dz by du into du plus dz by dv into dv. Now what is dz by du? Okay, now what is u? What is u? That is dz by du. Now, okay, all right. What is z? Now consider z is a function over u and v. Consider z equal to u into v. I can take any function over u and v. What is d of u into v? This is what we want. Product rule is d of u into v. That is d of u into v by du into du plus d of u into v by dv into dv. D of u into v by du, where u and v are independent to each other, v will come outside. V du plus u dv. This is the product rule. Now I can substitute u equal to fx and v equal to gx. The d of fx into gx equal to gx fx gx dfx plus fx dgx. This is the primitive calculus of calculating the product rule in differentiation. Okay, I thought of bringing up the kind of integration by part. Now, integration by part in integral calculus, we can calculate through the product rule also. Okay, that we will see, and then we will mind blowing. We will try to find out the derivative of sin x, the derivative of sin x. Okay, derivative of sin x through the derivative of sin x through the primitive calculus, not through sin x. Derivative of sin x is nothing but sin x plus delta x minus sin x by delta x. This is the new way. What is primitive way can we calculate derivative of sin x? So that we will see. First we will prove the integration by part through the product rule in differentiation, and then we will move to the differentiation of sin x or integration of sin x, whatever it is, through the primitive calculus. So that we will see. Please do support us. +91 is the India country code. 9483160610. That is the telephone number. We will see.